maybe you're wearing a Kentucky Derby hat, and I'm like, why are we wearing this in a Zoom interview?
Maybe that's their style though, you know? Like
Yeah, I mean,
let
as long as you
we're
look
not
good.
we're not here to yuck your yum. Okay, so now I think we know what are some big mistakes to wear or to not wear on a Zoom. What else do you think we should talk about?
I guess, I feel like when it comes to what you're wearing, it your vibe is presented off of that. If you feel confident in what you're wearing, you're going to present yourself confidently. You're going to speak to me with knowledge of the position, of your experiences, because a lot of times I get on phone calls or Zoom interviews with people and they automatically assume I should just know about them because I read their resume. And it's like we've talked about this before in the podcast. Your resume is part of your story. It's not your whole story. And it's going to tell me something, but one, you could have lied on all of it for all I know. And that's what I'm here for, is to ask you questions to figure out, what are you bullshitting me here? Like, is that what's
Yeah,
happening?
yeah.
Because I've been bullshitted extremely hard during my first, it was like month 2 of me being a recruiter. And I won't give too many details, but let's just say I was bamboozled and I
Yeah.
was poured so much love into about how wonderful I was that I was like, oh, this person's great. And then when he was like, Destiny, is the shit shining? Because it's probably not right. Like
Uh-huh.
something's off.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it
I
was.
I I remember I remember you feeling so like exuberant about that dude. And I remember thinking, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure about that guy. Is he just ruffling your feathers? Is he just saying things or is he actually good? And I think that's when we started to kind of second guess. I remember holding back that thought for a long time for that gentleman
You didn't want
because
to hurt my
he
feelings.
I
I get it.
yeah, but I remember speaking up, but I remember holding back a lot of those feelings for a little bit because I wanted to make sure that you would learn and what do we need to do and here's questions that we need to talk about and ask. So if you are a hiring manager listening to this and somebody is just talking you up a storm, right? Like they have done all of these things, investigate more because you can really like somebody, but it doesn't mean that they're always going to fit into the position. They can be a really good sweet talker and they might not actually know anything. Like we've had interviews. I know you've come to me before and you've said, Wendy, I'm not sure that this person even has dental experience and they're just a good talker,
A lot
right?
of filler
Um,
words.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um, I know that I've had interviews with people in the past that I am 99% sure that they have no dental experience, but they say a lot of words that make it seem like they're in dental. And so if you go to ChatGPT, if you go to Google and you type in, like, what do I need to know for a dental interview? You're going to get a lot of answers, a lot of right answers, and so you're going to be able to BS your way through it. But that's where a good recruiter will find out, do you know dental or are you just BSing us?
Well, I literally had somebody the other day who swore they had 8 years of front desk experience and had been I also assisted in the back some. I said, oh, okay. And I'm asking her about it. She's telling me, she goes, yeah, the white filling material. I don't know what that's called, but that's what they use. First off, ain't ain't no way you've been in dentistry that long. And I'm saying this in the worst grammatical error because ain't no way. I'm sorry. What do you mean the white filling material? That's like number one easiest thing to know is composite. Like what?
And front or back, it doesn't matter if you have been an assistant and you're in the front office should know that word too. Like
Yeah.
that's
You're reading treatment
you have
plans.
to.
You're seeing what's being scheduled and what you're collecting money for. So because there's
Exactly.
another type of material too, but I don't know the name of that either.
Yeah.
Well, on this note, I don't think you've even worked in the dental field, truthfully.
Hmm.
So, and if you have, you learned nothing. Okay.
And if 8 years in and you don't know what a composite is, I don't think, we had somebody text us the other day and they, usually people say, I'm a really fast learner. I saw a text the other day that said, well, I don't have any dental experience, but I learn at a moderate pace. And I thought, oh,
Moderate's
how
not
sweet.
great.
No, how sweet that you are upfront and honest about that. You could have a most beautiful soul, and that could work for some positions that we've hired for in the past. So, I greatly appreciate that, but we don't have a position open for that right now. But Sometimes we do.
I also like think about the wording of things, especially when someone texts in about a position. We have a lot of people text and they'll just say, "Hey, you do realize I talk to 70 people a day, probably. I don't, who are you?"
Uh-huh.
Once you've texted me your name, it's saved in there. But before that, I have no idea who you are.
Yeah. But I will say sometimes when they text in and we've had a team member already put the information in, oh boy, do I love that. Oh, that
Yes.
makes my heart feel so happy.
That's what I love
When
about
we're
our
like,
VAs. So
when we're
grateful
one
for them.
step ahead and they're like they're on it and the person applied like 10 minutes ago and we already have the name saved. Oh my gosh. Makes my heart so happy. I love it.
I am grateful for that. I'm grateful for the people we have on our team because
Oh my
it's
God.
so helpful when that happens. Or like before
100%.
I call candidates for the day, they're already in there. I don't even have to worry about it. I don't have to stress about it. I know that I can just type in their name and call them.
Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
Well, so obviously, I feel like we have gathered what not to wear. I'm also going to include a few little slides of some outfits that you probably shouldn't wear that could be modeled by me or Wendy. Who knows? Stay tuned for that surprise. But also what you should wear. I'll include a picture of that, what looks nice. Again, what I have on is a button up blouse and some jeans today for a Zoom interview. That's great. I'm very subtle. My hair's nice. My makeup, you don't have to have your makeup down, obviously, but if it makes you feel more confident, I'm all about it. Do that. I obviously have tattoos. 99% of the people watching this probably don't even know that unless you see me in person because 9 times out of 10, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. But it's okay if you have tattoos. I feel like that's something you have to fill out per job and per the person you're going to work with because some people don't like it. Some people don't care. If your tattoos are offensive, I would hide them. But I'm also a direct person. Like when I interview with somebody, I'm going to let them know I have tattoos. Is that an issue? I usually keep them covered for the interview just as a process. Would you like to see them because I can show you that they are not inappropriate? I think that's a great way to handle it. Though most people should not discriminate on tattoos, let's be honest, we know how people can be.
Yeah.
I've experienced it myself. I'm not going to discriminate on you for it. I'm probably going to ask you where you got that done and how long it took. Is that cool? Because I'll
Yeah.
tell you all about mine, but there are people out here who might. So I always think best bet when you have tattoos, especially a lot like mine, is I wear a long sleeve and then I present that information after the interview has went well and say, "Oh, I meant to mention this. What is your tattoo policy in the office?
Hmm.
Because I do have tattoos. Are these okay?" I just like to do it that way. I did it that way when I was pregnant too. Like when I got a new job when I was pregnant with Sophia, I just flat out told them I was pregnant because it would cause me anxiety to hide things.
Hmm.
I just
Oh
need to
yeah.
let it all out there.
I actually remember you telling me that you had a tattoo in our interview, and I'm pretty sure I laughed at you.
You did.
Like, not in a bad way, but like I laughed like, why do I care if you have
Like,
tattoos? I
okay.
don't see them on your face. I don't see them on your neck, then it's cool with me. I don't really care. So I do appreciate and I love that you had that thought. I have one tattoo, but it's hidden underneath of clothes, and so no one will probably ever see it. I'm not even sure you've seen it. That's a very nice thing that you think of, and that wasn't even something that I would have thought to put in this podcast, but I'm glad that you did. That's obviously more of a lived life experience than for that you have comparatively to than what I have. So I'm glad that you threw that in here. That's
Okay.
helpful.
I always say it's mainly because I worked with the military for a while and they don't care. Everybody in the military has sleeves. I mean, it's normal for them. So then when I had transitioned after we PCS, when I had started to work at an endodontic office, I was not told prior to that my tattoos were an issue. And I got there the first day and was basically told, you need to wear long sleeves all day, every
Well,
day.
you're supposed to anyways,
Yeah,
as
well,
an assistant.
I mean, just like I couldn't I couldn't put my jacket on. Like I couldn't come in the office with my tattoo showing at all.
I see. I
Like
see.
because they were offensive to the doctor because he didn't believe in tattooing. I mean,
Sure.
okay, but again, my body, not yours. Like if I come in the office to put my scrubs on and then I put a scrub jacket on, it really shouldn't matter.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Some people don't care for tattoos. If you don't care for tattoos and what Destiny just said, like you have a different reason why you don't like it, let us know because I'm super curious. Like
yeah,
what's your reasoning or your doctor's reasoning, your owner's reasoning? If they say that they don't want any, let's chat about that.
I've honestly had a lot of even not in military bases, just the patients love when their assistants have tattoos or something because they're like, oh, let me see that, like
Yeah.
and you can kind of communicate with other people, especially other people who have tattoos. Sometimes
Hmm.
I feel like that's a for me, it was always a way to bond with them. Like if they had tattoos and they were nervous, I could joke with them, like, you know what? Look at us. We're sitting here with all these tattoos and sat for hours with a needle getting stuck in our arm, but we're terrified right now in this dental chair. And
Yeah.
they'd be like, I am. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I know. Should we
Uh-huh.
go get tattoos? And they're like, it would probably be better than being here. I said, this is gonna be easy.
Oh yeah.
This is me easy. And they're like, I think you're crazy. And I'm like, we both look crazy sitting here being anxious about this one needle prick that you're gonna have to numb you up versus all of these needles. And they're like, that usually
Right.
calms them down and they start laughing at themselves. And I'm like, see, it's a connection between people with tattoos.
Yeah. Oh man, I miss being with patients all the time. I tell you what.
I know sometimes I do too, but then sometimes I'm like, there's so much we don't have to necessarily deal with that happens in an office, and I'm grateful for that too.
Yeah, we do have a lot of chaos here, but in like we're
In the
taking the
best
chaos
way.
off from other people's hands,
In the
so it
best way.
makes you feel a little bit better
Well, okay, so lead
in the best
into,
way.
all of what I just talked about obviously leads to office culture and the type of office you're going to be in. So, how would you say someone should balance an office culture versus like playing it safe and making sure, obviously, basically what I mentioned, do you play it safe and not say anything? Or do you dig into that office culture? How do you balance that?
So what I think would be the best idea is if you can go to their website and look at the team photos or look at their social media and see what are they wearing. Now, if you can already tell that they're a high-end office, if they do Botox and they do implants and they do, X, Y, and Z, they do everything and they have like 5 doctors, assume that it's a higher end office. Assume that it's like a spa-like office and where you should, have things that are more maybe neutral colors, not super exuberant prints, maybe. But if you do want to have like a fun flair, which I love doing every now and again, I don't know where in the world it went. I have been missing my like hot pink business jacket for the
Yeah.
longest time. I don't know where it's at, and it drives me nuts because I've missed that. Like I must have left it at a hotel room and I totally forgot about it or something. So like I have a super super hot pink jacket that I wear, but then I wear a black top and black pants to go with it because the
Yeah.
jacket is so bright. But I recently learned because I'm not great at like styling stuff. I'm like I wear a top and that's all you need to see. Or like when I was in office, I would wear a dress so that I didn't have to think about it. I would wear a dress like all the time and I would just be done with it, right? But I recently heard that if you wanted to have a print, then find a pair of pants that goes along with one of the colors in that print. And it doesn't really matter what the bottoms look like. So if the bottoms are a solid color of that print, or if they're like striped or like multicolored type of thing, but like muted. I don't know, maybe I'll put in an image or something here. But you can still have a pop of color. You can still be fun and you don't have to be super neutral colored. And now, if you feel like all of what we're saying, you're like, no, I want to be like so flamboyant that it's ridiculous, and you feel muted in your interview and they say no because you look so flamboyant, maybe that's not the office for you, you
Yeah.
know?
That's the hard truth for a lot of people we talk to swallow is I'm not saying you can't do the job. I'm not saying you can't get in there and learn it, but maybe it's just not the right fit mutually. Like a lot of times, if I tell you no thanks, it's maybe not even that I don't think you can work out at the office. It's that I don't think you'll enjoy working at the office. And that's just the God's honest truth about it. And I would rather be truthful with you. I tell a lot of people that in an interview, I would love to get you hired. I would love to close this position out and send you on, but here's what you said and here's why I think maybe it's not a match. And either they explain to me like they meant it a different kind of way and it could be, or they say, you know what, I really appreciate you being open and telling me that. So
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Now we talked about what you shouldn't wear, what you can wear, and what goes along with office culture. Do you think overdressing hurts a candidate?
I'm big onto the you dress for the job you want. I don't necessarily think you can I mean, obviously I don't think you're gonna show up in a tuxedo. I'm not gonna say you're not gonna get the job because of it. I'm still gonna interview and probably, but am I later gonna say, man, that guy had on a tuxedo? Like probably question that in my mind later and say, wow, he went for it. And I'm not mad about it. I have no, just may be odd to me. Like don't
I
come
don't know
here
if it would
wearing
be
out
odd
a
to me.
ball as a woman either.
Yeah, well, in a ball gown, you're probably not going to see it unless you like come strutting into the camera, right? Like that'd be funny. Beautiful. And let's
It's a
see that.
show.
flaunt it. And honestly, if you have a ball gown, just like we were talking about no pants, if you're not going to see the bottom part of it, but the top looks like flawless and you want to wear it, go get it.
Yeah.
Put
I
it
just know
on.
most gowns nowadays, like most, prom dress or anything like that, are just bedazzled. The whole top's diamonds.
Some of them. Yeah.
That may be a
That's
bit
enough.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd have to be really, really flamboyant, like you mentioned, for overdressing to be an issue on my end. Maybe you're wearing a Kentucky Derby hat, and I'm like, why are we wearing this in a Zoom interview?
Maybe that's their style though. Like
Yeah, I mean,
let's
as long as you
we're
look
not
good.
we're not here to yuck your yum. If
Yeah.
if you've got a tuxedo on, if you've got a Kentucky Derby hat on, we're gonna probably make a comment that it looks nice, and you go ahead and share what you want to share. And that's probably all we're gonna say. We're not gonna
Yeah.
tell you to take it off before we get on the Zoom. We're probably gonna comment on it because it's different than what we normally see. We see a lot of the same things over and over, right? So wear what you want to wear, but know that we're probably going to ask you about it. Like, where did you get it? I love that tie. I've seen wooden ties. I think those are really cool.
Huh. You
I'll have
should
to show
have
you a
Mo
picture.
make a metal tie right now. He's in his
Um,
metalworking era.
except that would like cut your neck.
You attach it to a string.
I don't know. So to go along with that overdress though, make sure like or all of the things that we're talking about before you are in a Zoom or before you go in person to an interview, highly suggest you to try it on from head to toe. Do a once over beforehand, even down to your shoes. Because I know like I have a brown shirt and a sweater that goes with it, and I love the brown shirt. But I have found that the tag, I need to cut the tag out or something, unstitch it because it's so itchy. I love that outfit. It looks so good, but I have to stop wearing it until I pick those threads out. Maybe I'll go do that after this because you don't want to fidget and be adjusting and be, itching and, your elbow is up like this for half of the time or, self-conscious. So from your shoes to whatever you want to do with your hair, your face situation. If you want to wear a Kentucky Derby hat, try the whole bit on from head to toe before the interview process.
That just made me think about this. We are obviously talking to people who are applying for dental office jobs. And 9 times out of 10 in the interview process, you're obviously going to wear something nice, like we're mentioning. But once you get to a working interview, probably going to be wearing scrubs. Great point to make about this is try your scrubs on. Make sure there's no stains because I know as a prior dental assistant, it happens. Things get on there, you wash it, and maybe it didn't come out and you didn't notice. You always should be looking over your scrubs, even if you're not interviewing. You should just look them over at least once a week. Make sure you didn't miss anything. Threads aren't coming apart. Just check them over because you want to look professional in your scrubs as much as you do in a business casual attire. You want to make sure that your patient feels like you hold accountability in yourself in your position and you're confident in it. And if you come in slouchy, over baggy scrubs where you look like you haven't ironed them in days, that doesn't look great either. I'm not saying you got to iron your scrubs every day. I had an office that tried to tell me that. Who has time to iron their scrubs every night? I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Toss them in the dryer. Let the wrinkles get out. Hang them on a hanger. Just make sure you still look good in scrubs too, because you still want to present yourself well, regardless if it's in a nice outfit or your scrubs. They're not pajamas. They are scrubs. They are a professional uniform. Treat them as such.
Absolutely. And a second thought on that too. If you're going into an office, even if it's after hours, if you're going into an office for an interview and you're looking to the nines, right? You're in your ball gown or your tuxedo, whatever you're wearing. Highly suggest you to bring scrubs and put scrubs in your car because if they want to do not a working interview, if it's after hours, but if they want to do a skills assessment, they might not have scrubs for you to wear and you might need to mix cement or you might need to do something. So I will always suggest you to have a pair of scrubs in your car if you're going to an interview, if you're going to do anything clinically. Now, if you're like a receptionist or an office manager and you're not like, it doesn't appear that you're going to do anything in the back, then obviously don't worry about it. But if you do anything clinically, always make sure that you are ready for that.
You know what I just realized? Are you holding butter right now?
No, it does look like it though. It's just my microphone.
I love it.
It's a candle.
I was staring at it for a minute and I was like, is that butter?
It does look like butter. It smells so good. It's just there's like no scent to it, but
Like
just plain
beeswax.
beeswax is so nice.
Yeah, look at me. I knew that. Well, obviously, us as recruiters, we pick up on things more than other people would. I know when I'm walking around the grocery store, I might notice something and just think it in my head, like, oh, okay. But obviously, in interviews, we're looking for that. That is our goal: is to notice subtle changes, body language, the way somebody has said something can really do it for me. Like if they change their tone, maybe I think that they're lying, or I figure out that they, are nervous or something off of their tone. So, what are some subtle appearance details that people forget that maybe you and I would notice as recruiters?
Yeah. So hair is a really big thing for me. Obviously, I talked about it in the last one, but I think maybe because having blonde hair, which don't freak out if you think I've had brown hair your whole life, my whole life. It's blonde, in case you didn't know. I don't. Everybody thinks I have brown hair. It's blonde, but so greasy roots show really fast for me, and I don't know if that's the case for everybody's hair or everybody's hairstyle, but I feel like it shows so much in it for me. Make sure that your hair looks nice. So no flyaways, no greasy roots. Don't do a messy bun. Messy buns are like super cute, right? But is that what you're going to wear to work? If that's not something that you normally wear to work, no, don't say that because sometimes as an assistant, you can have a messy bun because your hair has to be up. But so no messy buns in an interview. That's something that's really important. Also, especially if I'm interviewing somebody who's clinical, which you do 95% of the interviews for us here. But when I'm in an interview and if I see that your nails are long and you're clinical, so an assistant, a hygienist, even an associate, and I see that your nails are long, I'm going to make note of that in our like so we have a positive and negative in a note section. I'm going to put that in the negative part because per OSHA, per a lot of times state guidelines, you can't have long nails. And especially like if your nails are, I mean, chipped polish doesn't look great.
Yeah.
That is not wonderful, right? You don't think that your nails are probably going to show in an interview, but a lot of times people talk with their hands. So if your nails are long, that is something that I will make sure to comment on because that's something that's important. Are you going to have a conversation with that assistant beforehand? And I've even brought it up in interviews before. Oh, your nails look really nice. Is that usually what your nails look like? And sometimes people will say, oh, no, I had, this gala to go to this last weekend and I haven't worked or since, or, just like it's the nails that they're going to pull off or something. But those are two things that I really kind of pay attention to. What do you pay attention to for, details that maybe not everybody pays attention to in an interview?
Hair is something I look at. I know we talked about that earlier with my bad interview experience. Just making sure, I'm not saying you have to have a blowout or I'm not saying you can't have just a nice slick back ponytail. As long as it looks like you brushed it and you attempted, totally fine. And again, you don't have to wear makeup. I do think that you know how you feel most confident. If makeup makes you feel more confident, then put it on. That's great. I'm not judging you on your facial appearance. I'm not judging, are you the prettiest person I've ever seen today? That's not what I'm here to do. So I don't care if you don't, look like a supermodel, but clean. Um, a thing for me, not on Zoom interviews, but in-person interviews, is making sure your hygiene is, top tier. You don't want to smell. I promise you, they will smell you if you did not use deodorant or shower. And that's going to be a deciding factor because you're in very close quarters with a doctor most of the time or patients. And, in a dental facility, you want everybody around you to be hygienic because you're doing work in other people's mouths. So I think that is something like super important for me, is making sure that your hygiene is up to date because we have to wash our hands so much. We should also be, as adults, washing our bodies and taking care of ourselves in that way.
And making sure too that we don't have anything pinging in the background when we're on a Zoom call. So your watch or your phone, like if you have Facebook up, either mute it or just exit out, right? Like we want to be quiet when we are on a conversation. So like I have three things open right now that can make noise if somebody happens to message in, and just on my computer, not even my phone. And so making sure that we are very well aware of the sounds that can happen too, because I feel like it's probably nearly every single interview that I have that I see people going like this, like swiping because they're getting a notification, a
Yeah.
text or a phone call or something. And so just silence it going into an interview. It will look so much better if you don't if you don't have to swipey swipe, you know?
No, I definitely agree. And another thing, I will say this for Zoomers. I am a pet lover. I have two French bulldogs myself. They're so cute, but I don't keep them in here with me when I'm doing interviews. So I also highly suggest to just put your pets in another room, kennel them for the interview. I get on interviews a lot and people be like, sorry for the distraction. If you see my dog running around the room and it's like, if you knew they were going to be a distraction, let's just remove the distraction so I can focus on you and you can focus on me. Because a lot of times people have to be like, I'm sorry, hold on, and like push their dog off them or their cat or whatever it is. And it's like, does that seem professional to you to have to do that? Because though they're animals, like it's basically the same thing as me seeing you have your kid running around in the background. And I also try to be very kind about that because I get it. I'm a mom. My kids are sick. Sometimes it happens. It's life.
Yeah.
Reschedule the interview if you can't be in a place on your own and just focus on the interview because I can't send that to offices. It doesn't look great.
That reminds me, I had another really bad interview that I want to talk about. It was so bad. Was it your interview? Maybe it was yours, and I just watched it. I don't remember.
What happened in it, I'll tell you.
Okay. So what I remember is the person was like in a basement, or at least the ceiling looked like a normal basement, right? Like it has the trusses or whatever. And she was walking around like a pile of stuff in the like a table with a whole bunch of stuff on it. And her kid was like almost chasing her. And she just kept walking around. I think it was in a store though, maybe. This was a long time ago.
I had one and that she was in a restaurant and she was trying to keep her child distracted. She had to do it there or something. And I felt bad. She was very sweet. Again, no judgment on her. She was doing what she had to do with her kid. And I understand it just was unfortunate circumstances of obviously the office didn't care for the fact
Yeah.
that her child was running around it.
Okay, so to speak to that, I know we were talking earlier about like what should you wear and go to Goodwill or borrow something. What if you don't have a babysitter? Like, okay, so I'm not a big fan. Like, we don't have a TV where all of us, all of our family just like sits and chills. Like, we don't have a TV in that area because I don't want my kids to watch TV 24/7. Although they do glue their eyeballs pretty good to a TV when I need them to, if I need them
Yeah.
to. And I'm so grateful that I don't have to use that very often at all. But can you do that with your kids? And at least like if that's the situation that you have to be in and you need to be in the next room over, tell me in the beginning of the interview, I'm so sorry, my kids are on an iPad. I'm really hoping that they can be distracted this whole time. I had nobody else that lives around
Yeah.
me. I don't trust anybody else to watch my kids. I don't have daycare. Schools are closed for 3 weeks because of the ice storm or whatever in the south, whatever.
Story
Right?
of my life.
I know. That's exactly why I said it. You don't have a neighbor that you can drop the kid off to. Tell me in the beginning and try to distract them with something. I agree. I don't like iPads, but at least if you can get the beginning portion of who you are, like
Yeah.
when we ask the question, who are you? What do you do? Tell me about yourself, your background, blah, blah, blah. If you can get that portion out without an interruption, I would call that a success. If you have zero other option.
Well, and you know what? If you have to step away like once, if the kid doesn't come into the camera and like jumping all over you, like that's even better. If the kid's home and had to come get you for a second, I can pause the recording and
Yeah.
step back into it. Lock the door. As bad as that sounds, but I've had to do it. When my kids are sick, here's the TV, here's a snack. I'll be back to check on you. Please don't bother me.
Yeah. I would say that if my kid knew that I was on a call and he was in the next room over and I had my door closed, if he can open the door, which I have a door lock on the outside, but
Yeah.
if he can open the door, he will be in my face. And I understand that, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. If you can get the first little bit of who are you? Tell me about yourself, get that part out in the open. If I can hear that uninterrupted, I'll call that interview a success.
I agree. Great tips. I love it. Fantastic.
Beautiful. Okay. Yes. Did you have anything else?
No, I think that was it for me on this one.
Okay. We already talked about like make sure that your background looks really nice. This is my office, but it's also my craft room. So that's why you see what you can see because you don't want to see the rest of it. And also, I do a really good job at taking my jacket off and just putting it in a pile. I have like 10 jackets over there that I need to go and put them back up into my office or into my closet upstairs. But that is not what you need to see. What you can see this is the important part. So do a check before you get onto the Zoom. Just open your camera on your computer, your phone, whatever you need to do, and also make sure that your phone is sitting still. That's another thing that it kind of drives me a bit nuts when people are like, sitting like this and they're moving all over the
Yeah.
place, right? Don't do that. Make sure that you're cognizant of your background and that you can see your face, right? Like some people, when the light is so bright behind them, you can't see their face, or it's so dark that you can't see their face. So figure something out about that.
That brings me to one more tip that I have. If you're doing
Yeah.
your interview in a car, just make sure your phone doesn't overheat. I don't care that you're doing it in the car. Do where you got to. But I'm telling you, if you took 5 of my last in-car interviews, at least 4 of them dropped because their phones overheated because iPhones just do that. So maybe put your phone near the vent, have your car on, you know, because it will overheat. And then the interview, you just go blank. And then I have to wait on your phone to turn back on. We wasted time. We lost precious moments of our interview.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you lose momentum and then you feel some kind of way when that happens. So, yeah, make sure that you bring a charger if you're going to do it in your car. And if you do it in your car, think about, do you need your car on or off, depending on if it's hot or cold? Because I've also had that too, where you need to reconnect and then you're halfway through and it goes to your car, whatever. So that's a good point too, because we do a lot of interviews in cars. Although, most important thing, if you're going to do your interview in your car, rule number one, Destiny, make sure you're not moving.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You must be
Um,
parked. We will not interview you or if you are moving in a car.
no, at all. Also, number 2, let's just make sure that there's not trash all behind you in the car and your car's not piled up with clothes and you look like you're living in it because I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
I hope
sorting
to
your
God you're
trunk.
not living in your car, and if you are, I have no judgment for it, but maybe throw it all in the trunk beforehand.
Or on the floor so you can't see it behind you. Even if you can, like my background is kind of like fuzzy, right?
Yeah.
If you can make it more fuzzy than what I have, do that for your car too. If
You can
if
also
it's
make a
starting.
fake backdrop on Zoom.
True. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good point.
I don't
Okay.
do that a lot. But I have a neutral background. You see my little tooth up there, cute little things. I am going to put wallpaper up at some point. So stay tuned on the podcast for that because it's going to happen.
Someday. Someday we'll see it. Okay. I think we can call that a wrap. If there is there anything else for you, Destiny?
No, I am good.
Okay. Then we'll call that a wrap. If today's episode gave you a laugh, a tip, or maybe a little sanity, hit the follow button and the share button with somebody else that's in dentistry who might need a tiny little miracle in their hiring life.
We've got more stories, strategy, and sass coming your way.
Until next time, stay elevated.